Hey guys, Mosa here, and today I'm bringing you my AFC free agency review. Now, without a further ado, let's get started. Now, kicking it off with the Bills, they signed Mitch Trubisky, obviously backup quarterback. That doesn't matter as much. Curtis Samuel and Mac Hollins to a 3 and 1 year deal, respectively. Very good. And after their uh, trade with the Houston Texans, getting rid of their star wide receiver. Very good thing to do. Then you get tackle Lyle Collins. Little iffy there, but decent. Will Clapp, 1 year deal. Pretty good, but they could have done a little bit better. Casey Toohill and Deshaun Williams coming in with 1 year deals each. Now, the most likely reason why they're going 1 year deals with most of the players is because they don't have the money. And the same thing goes with Austin Johnson, 1 year deal, Nicholas Morrow with a 1 year deal, and Mike Edwards from the Chiefs on a 1 year deal. Now, this team is not going to be the same team we've been seeing for the past few years. This team is going to be not a top rated team. They're going to still win the division most likely, but they're still going to be fighting heavily. But they kept Ty Johnson, Deion Hawkins, David Edwards, AJ Epinesa, Laquan Jones, Taron Johnson, and Cam Lewis, along with Taylor Rapp. Now, the players who left: Kyle Allen, backup quarterback, doesn't really matter. Nyheim Hines, not really worried since they got James Cook. Gabe Davis, Trent Sherfield, Deontay Harty, and, of course, their star receiver, Stephon Diggs. Now, this is going to be a huge blow to Josh Allen this year, losing all of them. And then you get tackle Ryan Bates, center Mitch Morse, edge rusher Leonard Williams, defensive linemen Poona Ford, Team Settle, and Jordan Phillips, all leaving along with Tyrell Dodson, Dane Jackson, Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer, and Siran Neal. Most of these players were let go due to the fact that they could not, they just couldn't keep them. If they had kept these players, they wouldn't have enough money to bring in new players. And I think that the Buffalo Bills get a C+ for their grade in this free agency period. Now on to the Miami Dolphins. They've just received Jody Fortzer and Jonnu Smith. Fortzer, they got him for a 1 year deal, and Smith for a 2 year deal. Tackle Jack Driscoll on a 1 year deal. Center Aaron Brewer on a 3 year deal. Shaquille Barrett from the Buccaneers on a 1 year deal. Neville Gallimore, Jonathan Harris, Benito Jones, Tyler Tart, all on 1 year deals. Then they got from the Seattle Seahawks Jordan Brooks on a 3 year, $26.25 million. And Anthony Walker from the Browns on a 1 year deal, and Cameron Brown as well. But then you get Kendall Fuller, the cornerback, and safeties Jordan Poyer and potentially Siran Neal on 1 year deals, while Fuller was on a 2 year deal. Now, this is going to be an incredible Miami team to see. Like, really, this is an improvement. Honestly, the one thing they need to improve more is, I think, in my opinion, is definitely the defensive back. They should have gotten a little bit more. Jordan Poyer and Kendall Fuller are very good defensive backs to get, but I think they should have done a little bit more in that defense. In the end, they kept Salvon Ahmed, Braxton Berrios, River Crawford, Robert Jones, Isaiah Wynn, Kendall Lamb, Deshaun Hand, Nick Needham, and Jake Bailey. Now, I see that as okay, especially the best. I think it would be either Robert Jones or Braxton Berrios. I think those two are the best that they were able to retain this offseason. Now, of course, we all know the players that left are Cedric Wilson, wide receiver for the Saints. Then Robert Hunt left for the Panthers on a huge deal, which actually hurts the Panthers. Then Andrew Van Ginkel led for the Vikings. Raekwon Davis to the Colts. Christian Wilkins to the Raiders. Jerome Baker to the Seahawks, Brandon Jones to the Broncos, and Deshaun Elliott to the Steelers. Now, I think that losing Christian Wilkins is a horrible step for the Miami Dolphins. Obviously, he wanted money and he got it in Las Vegas. While Jerome Baker might be another one that will definitely be hitting hard on Miami there. But in the end, I'd give the Dolphins a since they did get Jordan Poyer and Kendall Fuller and Jordan Brooks, I'm gonna give them a B minus. They're gonna get a B minus from me. Now on to the New England Patriots, where they have gotten Jacoby Brissett on a 1-year deal. Most likely they're gonna select the quarterback. Either it's gonna be Drake May or Jaden Daniels, depending on who the Commanders pick second overall. Then Antonio Gibson, third on a 3-year deal. Very good signing. KJ Osborne, okay signing, 1-year deal. Austin Hooper, okay signing, 1-year deal. Chukwuma Okwara from the Steelers, pretty good addition, 1-year deal. Nick Leverett on a 1-year deal. Mon Watts with a 1-year deal. A 2-year deal for Simone Takitaki. And Jalen Hawkins on a 1-year deal. Very good when it comes to the offensive line, running back, and decently with the quarterback. At least you have a backup other than Bailey Zappi. They kept quarterback Nathan Rook, so that's another option at backup. Then Kendrick Bourne and Jalen Reagor staying on the team. I'm not that high on Reagor, but I am high a bit on Bourne. They should do better on receiver in this draft, most likely. Hunter Henry resigning. Tyron Wheatley Jr. resigning. Mike Onwenu also resigning. And Farini Jennings. I really don't think I'm saying these names right, so forgive me. Josh Uche also resigning. Christian Ellis and Kyle Duggar on a transition tag, though. Now, the players that are leaving are Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki, Pharaoh Brown, Trent Brown, Mac Wilson, Chris Board, Jalen Mills, Miles Bryant, and they traded their star quarterback, Mac Jones, to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, overall, the Patriots, I think they would have to get a C from me. They did not do as good as they should have, and if they select Jaden Daniels or potentially go receiver with Marvin Harrison Jr., or get a huge buttload of picks from someone going up to number 3, that would be all they need to up them to a B. And honestly, I think the Patriots might pick a quarterback. It just depends on which one of the two behind Caleb Williams they're going to select. Now on to the New York Jets, starting with Tyrod Taylor on a 2-year deal. Then Mike Williams on a 1-year deal from the Chargers. John Simpson on a 2-year deal. They traded for Morgan Moses from the Ravens. Tyron Smith joining them on a 1-year deal. Leki Fotu on a 1-year deal. Javon Kinlaw on a 1-year deal. And Isaiah Oliver on a 1-year deal. Very good additions, especially Mike Williams, Tyron Smith, Morgan Moses, and Javon Kinlaw. I think those are the top acquired players by the New York Jets. And of course, we have the players who were retained are Jake Hansen, Solomon Thomas, Ashton Davis, and their kicker and punter Greg Zuerlein and Thomas Morstead. Now, when it comes to the players that left, you got quarterback Brett Rippon, CJ Uzomah, Bryce Huff, Quentin Jefferson, Bryce Hall, and Jordan Whitehead. But just recently, we learned that Zach Wilson was traded to the Denver Broncos, most likely to be their starter, unless they pick a quarterback, which I highly doubt they're going to pick in the first round a quarterback. Maybe they'll pick in the later rounds a quarterback, but for what I know, they're most likely going to start Zach Wilson, but who knows? You may get Jared Stidham starting again. But when it comes to the New York Jets, I think I'm going to give them, because of their additions, I'm going to go C+. They have done incredibly when it comes to getting Mike Williams. That is one of the top players that I think, if he can stay healthy, then you got a number 1 wide receiver for for Aaron Rodgers. Getting Morgan Moses and Tyron Smith, one on the right, one on the left. Bam, you got your protection for Aaron Rodgers, and he might not split his ankle again. But in the end, I think that the Jets did a pretty good job this offseason. Now on to the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens acquiring running back Derrick Henry from the Tennessee Titans, Deontay Hardy, wide receiver, Josh Jones, tackle, Chris Board, a linebacker, and Kadar Hallman. All except for Derrick Henry were signed to 1-year deals. Henry was signed to a 2-year deal worth $16 million. Pretty good, but how long does Henry have? But in the end, I'm not really too disappointed. But when it comes to re-signings, they got Josh Johnson back, Nelson Aguilar, not really seeing that one, Justin Madubike, Brent Urban, Malik Harrison, and Arthur Millette. Not really impressed with the offseason of the Ravens this year. And when it comes to players who were traded away, that was only Morgan Moses to the New York Jets, while Tyler Huntley went for the Browns, Gus Edwards to the Chargers, Devin Duvernay to the Jags, John Simpson, the guard, went for the Jets along with Morgan Moses when he got traded. Kevin Zeitler, I think it was, to the Lions, Jadeveon Clowney to the Panthers, Patrick Queen to the Steelers, Dilshawn Phillips to the Texans, Ronald Darby to the Jaguars, Rocky Ya-Sin to the 49ers, Geno Stone to the Bengals, and Tyler Ott to the Commanders. I think that I'm going to give these guys a C-. I was tempting a D because did they really do better in this offseason that could help them? Potentially, but not as good. So C- it is. And honestly, the Ravens should do a lot in this draft if they want to improve their team. Now, on to the Cincinnati Bengals. They acquired Zach Moss on a 2-year deal. They got Mike Gesicki and Trent Brown on 1-year deals. And they also got Sheldon Rankings and Geno Stone on 2-year deals. And Von Bell on a 1-year deal. When it comes to those players, it's 50-50 for me. Like, Sheldon Rankings, maybe. Von Bell, maybe. Gesicki, not as good as he used to be. Zach Moss, is that really going to replace Joe Mixon? Who knows? But they kept Trent Irwin, and they tagged, the franchise tag, not exclusive, to T. Higgins, a Tanner Hudson resigning, a Drew Sample resigning, Cody Ford, Akeem Davis-Gaither, and Joe Bachie all returned to the team. As when it comes to the players who left, we got Joe Mixon traded to the Houston Texans, the wide receiver Stanley Morgan, tight end Irv Smith, tackle Jonah Williams, DJ Reader, the defensive tackle, and Chidobe Awuzie, along with Nick Scott, both defensive backs, have left the team for the Saints, Chiefs, Cardinals, Lions, Titans, and Panthers, respectively. I am giving this team, they didn't do that well, in my opinion. So I'm going to give them a C. They didn't do that well. But I think they did a little bit better than the Ravens. Although not as much. So they're going to have to do something in the draft to help them out. Now on to the Cleveland Browns, where Jameis Winston, along with Tyler Huntley, both signed on 1-year deals. Nyheim Hines and Deonta Foreman, signed 1-year deals as well, alongside Giovanni Ricci. And Akeem Adeniji signs also a 1-year deal. We had a trade as the Broncos traded Jerry Jeudy to the Cleveland Browns. Quentin Jefferson signs on a 1-year deal, along with Devin Bush on a 1-year deal. Then we go to Jordan Hicks signing on a 2-year deal. Then defensive backs Tony Brown and Justin Hardy on 1-year deals. And Cade York returns to the Cleveland Browns on a 1-year deal. And this is pretty decent. But when it comes to re-signing, we got James Prosh, tight end Adam Troutman, Michael Dunn at tackle, Zadarius Smith, Shelby Harris, Maurice Hurts, Rodney McLeod, and Corey Bojorkse. I don't know how to say that last name, but it's a punter. I'm gonna say, yeah, pretty decent retains, but acquired. I think they did a little bit better acquiring players. The players who left: Joe Flacco to the Colts, Harrison Bryant, tight end, left for the Patriots. The Raiders. Tackle Leroy Watson to the Titans. He was traded away. And then we get Nick Harris going to Seattle, the center. Jordan Elliott headed for the 49ers to replace Jovan Kinlaw. Then we get Anthony Walker along with Simone Takitaki and Matthew Adams, all leaving for the Dolphins, Patriots, and Giants respectively, as Mike Ford leaves for the Houston Texans. So I'm going to give the Cleveland Browns a C as well. I think that they haven't done as well, but they haven't done bad either. So I'm going to say they're mid. They're mid-tier right now when it comes to signing players. So they're also going to have to work hard on the draft. Now, on to the Pittsburgh Steelers, where the Steelers got Russell Wilson on a one-year deal, as most of his contract is being paid by the Broncos after they released him. So they only signed him to a one-year deal worth $1.21 million. Then Kyle Allen signs for a similar amount of money for a one-year deal. Justin Fields traded from the Bears to the Steelers. That officially made the Bears all in on their potential number one overall pick, most likely, and that's Caleb Williams. Then we go to Cordell Patterson, a 2-year deal. Then Jefferson and Quez Watkins on 1-year deals. Michael Pruitt on a 1-year deal. Dean Lowry on a 2-year deal. Patrick Queen on a 3-year deal. They traded for Deontay Jackson from the Panthers. Deshaun Elliott joins them for a 2-year deal. And Cameron Johnston on a 3-year deal. So I'm thinking that they did very well this offseason. And then when it comes to the retained players, defensive end Montravius Adams, safety Miles Killebrew, and long snapper Christian Kuntz are really the best players to look at who have been retained. Then we go to the players who left, which are the 3 quarterbacks: Mitchell Trubisky. Kenny Pickett was traded to the Eagles after whining about Russell Wilson, and then Mason Rudolph left for the Titans. Deontay Johnson traded to the Panthers, and then we get Miles Boykins left for the Giants. Chukwuwana Okwofora, I don't know how to say that, so if you guys know, hopefully you do. But that tackle, he left for the Patriots. Armon Watts also left for the Patriots. And linebacker Michael Walker left for the Commanders alongside cornerback James Pierre. I'm going to say this. They did a very good job. I'm going to give them a B-. I'm tempted to give them a C+, but I think a B- is okay for the Steelers. They still need to do some work, but honestly, they got 2 quarterbacks that could potentially lead this team. One that will only lead them from one team for 1 year, and the other could potentially grow to be their future starter. So who knows? But for what I see, a B-, C+ is around the grade I would give the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, on to the Houston Texans. Traded for Joe Mixon. They've gotten Daniel Hunter on a 2-year deal. Danico Autry on a 2-year deal. Tim Settle on a 2-year deal. A 1-year deal for Foley Fatukasi. And a 1-year deal for Mario Edwards. They got Izzy Alshire from I think that he was in San Francisco. He signed on a 3-year deal. Delshon Phillips on a 1-year deal. Michael Ford from the Browns on a 2-year deal. Lonnie Johnson on a 1-year deal. Jeff Okuda with a 1-year deal. CJ Henderson on a 1-year deal. Miles Bryant on a 1-year deal. And Tommy Townsend from the Kansas City Chiefs has signed on a 2-year deal. They retain Noah Brown, Steven Sims Jr., Dalton Schultz, Charlie Heck. They also got Derek Barnett, Neville Hewitt, and Desmond King, along with Eric Murray and kicker Kai Fairbairn. I'm not going to say his full name because it's insane. But they also let go of running back Devin Singletary, tackles George Fant and Josh Jones. Giants took Singletary, Fant went for Seattle, and Jones went for Baltimore. Michael Dietrich left for the Commanders. Edge rusher Jonathan Greenard went for the Vikings. Sheldon Rankins, Malik Collins, and Tyler Tart all left the Texans for the Bengals, Bengals, 49ers, and Dolphins respectively. Blake Cashman left for the Vikings. Denzel Perryman left for the Chargers. Treveri Thomas for the Buccaneers. Kadar Hallman for the Ravens. And Cameron Johnson to the Steelers. I'm thinking mostly due to their acquirers like Daniel Hunter, Joe Mixon, Tim Settle, Mario Edwards, Aziz Shari, and others. Honestly, pretty good. I'm gonna give them a C+. I think that they're the players who they acquired is honestly what's gonna give them the chances to be on top of the AFC South once again. So let's see what they can do. Now moving on to the Indianapolis Colts, we got Joe Flacco and Raekwon Davis on a 1-year and 2-year deal respectively. Then they re-signed Trey Sermon. They re-signed Michael Pittman after putting him on a non-exclusive franchise tag. They signed Danny Pinter, Tyquan Lewis, Jernard Avery, Grover Stewart, Taven Bryant, DeForest Buckner, Zaire Franklin, Kenny Moore, Ronnie Harrison, Julian Blackmon, and Rigoberto Sanchez. And they had their players who had left is the quarterback Gardner Minshew, who left for the Raiders, Zach Moss, who left for the Bengals, running back, Isaiah McKenzie, who left for the Giants, the receiver, linebacker Jake Martin, who left for the Bears, and cornerback Tony Brown, who left for the Browns. Now, I'm thinking C-. Mostly because, yes, you got a lot of your own players back, but not good enough. And I'm happy you got Joe Flacco. He's a very good backup quarterback to have for AR-15, also known as Anthony Richardson. But in the end, is he going to be enough if Richardson goes down again? Perhaps. But for right now, I'm seeing this as a C-, C, or maybe even D+ for the Indianapolis Colts offseason. Now on to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mac Jones traded for from the Patriots. Gabriel Davis, Devin Duvernay at wide receiver, 3 2-year deal respectively. Josiah DeGuara from the Packers, tight end, 1-year deal. Mitch Morse from the, I think he was with the Bills on a 2-year deal. 3-year deal for Arik Armstead. Travis Gibson on a 1-year deal. Ronald Darby on a 2-year deal. Darnell Savage on a 3-year deal. And Joey Sly on a 1-year deal. And the players that they retained, we got the running back, Ernest Johnson. Offensive lineman, Blake Hance. Guard, Ezra Cleveland. And Josh Allen, the edge rusher, had received a non-exclusive franchise tag. And the players who left, wide receiver Calvin Ridley, defensive end Foley Fakukasi, both who left for the Titans and Texans. D'Angelo Blackson, who left for the Broncos. Clavion Chason, who left for the Panthers. Darius Williams, who left for the Rams. And Rayshawn Jenkins, who left for the Seahawks. And kicker Brandon McManus, who left for the Commanders. In my opinion, I'm seeing this in this way. They got Mac Jones as a backup. Decent backup choice. But getting Gabe Davis, Devin Duvernay, and DeGuara, and also getting Mitch Morse for the center position, these are very good options now the Jaguars have. Defensively, Arik Armstead, Ronald Darby, Darnell Savage, very good options. Kicker, very good option on Joey Sly. And keeping Ezra Cleveland, Josh Allen, and Ernest Johnson, along with Blake Hance, very good options. So I'm going to give them a C+. I think that they did very decently, and they'll have to do some work in the draft. Now on to the Tennessee Titans, who received a 1-year deal for Mason Rudolph as a backup, most likely. Tony Pollard from the Cowboys on a 3-year deal. Calvin Ridley on a 4-year deal, which is maybe a mistake by the Titans. They traded for Leroy Watson, Shaq Deke Charles on a 1-year deal, Lloyd Cushenberry for a 4-year deal, Sebastian Joseph on a 1-year deal. Then you get Kenneth Murray on a 2-year deal, Chidobe Awuzie on a 3-year deal, and they traded for cornerback L'Jarius Sneed from the Chiefs. Very good options who they got. And then they retained Julius Chestnut, the wide receiver Nick Westbrook Nkeni, I don't know if that's how you say it, kicker Nick Folk, and long snapper Morgan Cox. Not really as excited about the retained players, but okay. They lost Derrick Henry to the Ravens. They lost Chris Moore to the Cardinals. They lost Calvin Thornton to the Broncos. They lost Aaron Brewer to the Dolphins. Nico Autry left for the Texans. Trevon Gibson left for the Jaguars. Izzy Al-Shaair, it looks like I made a mistake. He actually was with the Titans, not the 49ers. Has left for the Texans. Sean Murphy Bunting has left for the Cardinals. Christian Fulton to the Chargers. And safety Devon Wallace to the Seahawks. In the end, what am I seeing here? They did a very good job when it comes to getting Pollard, Watson, Cushenberry, Joseph, Murray, Awuzie, and Sneed. Not really that happy with Calvin Ridley, but receiver is a receiver. In the end, I'm giving them a C for their efforts. They're going to have to work hard on this NFL draft that's coming up. Now, moving on to the Denver Broncos. Starting off with the Broncos trading for Zach Wilson from the Jets, getting Josh Reynolds on a 2-year deal, and Matt Freet on a 1-year deal, Calvin Throckmorton on a 1-year deal, 2-year deal for Malcolm Roach. I didn't necessarily find out the exact measurements, but it's on the screen right now. What Angelo Blackman got. Then you get Cody Barton on a 1-year deal and Brandon Jones on a 3-year deal. They retain fullback Michael Burton, Lil Jordan Humphrey at wide receiver, Adam Troutman at tight end, Justin Snard at linebacker, PJ Locke at safety, and Will Lutz at the kicker position. They obviously still paying off a lot of money to Russell Wilson after he left for the Steelers. They traded away Jerry Jeudy to the Browns. Chris Munhertz has left for the Giants. Lloyd Cushenberry to the Titans. Jonathan Harris to the Dolphins. And Josie Jewell for the Panthers. Honestly, if it wasn't for the Russell Wilson fiasco, I would put them in the B category. I'm giving them a C- straight up for releasing Russell Wilson when they did. I think they should have at least kept him for a little while until it was actually pursuable that they could actually release him with no problem. But I'm giving them a C- for their efforts in this offseason free agency movements. Now on to the Kansas City Chiefs. We got them taking Carson Wentz on a 1-year deal. All of their players that they acquired this year, all 1-year deals. Marquise Brown as well, Irv Smith Jr., and Matt Araiza getting back into the NFL after getting accused of, I think it was rape of a girl. I'm not certain what it was exactly. I think it might have been a minor or something. Ended up being not true. So he's back in the NFL. Hopefully he can do his best to get his opportunity. And in the end, let's see what he can do with Kansas City. He's landing in a good situation, and after Tommy Townsend left, let's see what he can do. Clyde Edwards-Helaire returned to the team along with Chris Jones, Derek Nottie, Terrence Wharton, Tershawn Wharton, Michael Dana, Mike Pennell, Drew Tranquil, Dion Bush, and James Winchester. And they lost tight end Jody Fortson, Nick Algeretti to the Commanders. Fortson left for the Dolphins. Willie Gay left for the Saints. L'Jarius Sneed traded to the Tennessee Titans. Mike Edwards left for the Bills. And Tommy Townsend left for the Houston Texans. Now, in the end, I think that the Kansas City Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions, they're not really going to do as bad. But I think maybe a C. I think a C, maybe C plus, could be in the grade for the Kansas City Chiefs. But for right now, I'm going to give them a C. I'm going to be there at C, and hopefully they can do better in the draft. Now, moving on to the Las Vegas Raiders, getting a 2-year deal for Gardner Minshew, 1-year deal for Alexander Madison, a 1-year deal for Harrison Bryant, Cody Whitehair going for a 1-year deal, and a 4-year deal, $110 million deal for Christian Wilkins. That might have been a mistake by the Raiders, but in the end, he got his money, and he's a very good defensive tackle. But I could have said maybe you could have gotten him for less, but in the end, who knows? Amir Abdullah re-signs with the team along with Andre James, John Jenkins, and Adam Butler. Although you lost Jimmy Garoppolo, which is not really that bad, he left the Rams. Josh Jacobs head for the Packers, so you're going to have to fix that running back position. I don't think Alexander Madison can replace what Josh Jacobs was doing. They also lost Austin Hooper to the Patriots. Jermaine Elumunor, I think that's how you say it, to the Giants. Brandon Parker to the 49ers. Bilal Nichols to the Cardinals. Jerry Tillery to the Vikings. And Keem Robertson to the Detroit Lions. I'm going to say it's a C minus. I'm going to go C minus. This team loved them getting Gardner Minshew. Probably going to be their starter unless they pick a quarterback this year. Alexander Madison, good selection, good signing for them. Cody Whitehair, decent signing. And I think that, honestly, this team, along with Antonio Pierce as their new head coach after he was the interim head coach, after they fired Josh McDaniels, who knows what will happen. But in the end, I think that this team will do pretty decently, but they'll need to do a little bit more work in the draft. Now on to the Los Angeles Chargers. They just managed to reach contract deals with J.K. Dobbins on a 1-year deal, a 2-year deal for Gus Edwards, a 3-year deal for Will Dissly, a 1-year deal for Hayden Hurst, Bradley Bozeman on a 1-year deal, a 1-year deal for Poona Ford, Troy Dye on a 1-year deal, Denzel Perryman on a 1-year deal, and Christian Fulton on a 1-year deal. Now, in my opinion, very good signings, especially J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards coming. Will Dissly and Poona Ford, Denzel Perryman, good signings for the Chargers. Then we get Easton Stick and Aloy Gilman returning for the team. Will Greer left for the Eagles. Then you get Austin Eckler, who also left. He left for the Commanders. Keenan Allen traded to the Bears. And then they released Mike Williams. Their two biggest mistakes in this offseason. You should have either traded or released one of them, not both. Gerald Everett going to the Bears. Then you get Will Clapp heading for the Bills. Austin Johnson also headed for the Bills. Amen Ogbonjabij, whatever. I don't know how to say that. If any of you know how, well, hopefully you can teach me in the comments. And the Bears, he left for the Bears. Eric Kendricks left for the Cowboys. Kenneth Murray left for the Titans. Michael Davis left for the Commanders. And Jalen Hawkins left for the Patriots. I'm going to give the Chargers a B-. I think they did pretty decently, especially with the... You know what? No. C+. And that C+ is because of getting rid of both Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. They better get some receiving help in this draft. Whether it be Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze or even someone else in the later rounds, get some receiving help because you need receivers now, Los Angeles. But in the end, C+. That's what I'm giving you. Now that was it for this video. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Who did the best in the AFC and who did the worst in the AFC when it comes to free agency? Tell me down in the comments below and any video ideas you would like. Now, like this video if you liked it, subscribe and hit the notification if you want more videos, and I'll see you guys next time.